idealists who really feel the tremendous need for this for humanity at this time. And it's my prayer that it can be developed and fulfilled in the spirit of cooperation and brotherhood, and for and above all to place it for the good of all, and for no one's personal gain but for the good of all. And I think we have a chance, you know, with things like this, of pulling through these difficult times.
You may write to the DePalma Energy Corporation at 1187 Coast Village Road, number 1-163, Santa Barbara, California, 93108.
For our most controversial guest in the history of the program, Sir Bruce of DePalma.
Welcome to the Something's Happening show. Our 6 hours of dynamite radio.
Good morning, good evening, and good day. This is your host, producer, and engineer. I'm not your engineer. Our engineer is Diane Schmidt, and welcome to Something's Happening. We'll be here till 6 o'clock with Dynamite Radio for Night People. And our guest tonight for the 10th, 12th, I don't know how many times you've been on for all these years, Bruce DePalma, who's the inventor of a special three-dimensional effect in movies. Which is, was it no glasses and very inexpensive, highly defined 3D that you'll never see because he refused to sell out to the lowest bidder. And also most well known on this program as the inventor of the N machine, which is also called free energy machine, over unity machine, that makes some people absolutely, the thought of which makes some people blow their gaskets and do everything they can to take me off the air, because I would even entertain such a thing or such a person. Welcome back to the show.
It's a pleasure to be back, Roy. Every time I sit in this little studio here and reminisce on the sorts of people that have sat in here, I really feel honored to be back. And I haven't been here for about almost a year, and about a year, and a lot of water's gone under the dam, and I guess I'm loaded for bear tonight, because I can start out with some thoughts about the N machine and what the N machine is in physics, and move on to other issues which are opened by this technology. And I hope, after all this is over, to end on a hopeful note for our whole society. So
that's a big order.
Yeah, so without further ado, for those of you who never heard of Bruce DePalma or the N machine, the N machine is one of the simplest ways to extract from space, or the what I call the primordial energy field, what we know as free energy. And it simply consists of a cylindrical magnet on an axle, which is going through its poles, sort of like a wiener on a stick. And you put one contact on the axle and one contact on the outside of the magnet, and turn the magnet, and lo and behold, electricity is generated simply by the rotation of a magnet in space, without pickup coils or anything. You just take the electricity out of the magnet. And this effect was originally discovered, I found out, after I had rediscovered it in 1977. It was originally discovered by Michael Faraday in 1831, December 26th.
The Michael Faraday,
Yeah, the great English experimental scientist and electrician.
after which Farads are named.
Farads are named after Faraday, correct. And Faraday had a magnet hanging on the string, and he put a little copper penny, I guess, over one end of it, and put two wires, one in the center of the penny and one on the outer edge, and made the magnet go around, and he got electricity out of this. Now, it's a phenomenon that's been in the books for 160 years now, but has never been exploited in our society for a couple of reasons. One is the voltages are very low. Two is the currents are very high. And three, there was no useful way where you could take these low voltages and very high currents and bring them up to a usable voltage and current level that we could put to work in our society. I'm sort of laughing right now because, of course, Roy is playing with a gadget I brought here, which was another free energy machine, which we might have, since he started this cycle going, we might as well go into it. You know, when you talk about machines which take energy out of space, all the talk in the world is very interesting, and I've got files full of papers about my repeated experiments and articles and everything else like that, which I can duly make available to you or tell you about. And then I thought, well, I'll bring a real free energy machine down to KPFK and let everybody listen to it at least. And this is a little machine called a ball bearing motor. Now, for those of us who are interested in philosophy and stuff like that, that if there is a generator that can produce electrical output without having appreciable work input to get that electrical output, then there must be a motor that can produce appreciable work out without having to put a lot of power into it. And such a motor is existing, and it's sitting on the table in front of us, and is something that Stefan Marionov, a European physicist, brought from, and he brought it from an insane asylum in Bulgaria, where he was incarcerated for having thoughts which were contrary to establishment ideas. And since he was kept in solitary confinement, the only place he could talk to another human being was in the men's room, which he visited once a day. And in that men's room, in an adjacent stall, was a free enterprise machinist who had violated the communist dicta by having lathes and milling machines in his wife and girlfriend's apartments and doing mechanical jobs for his friends on the side for profit. So they put him in a insane asylum with Marinov to straighten him out. And so they were both in the stalls one afternoon, and this mechanic said to Marinov, "Stefan, have you ever heard of the ball bearing motor?" And the ball bearing motor simply consists of two ball bearings, and there's a shaft connecting the two ball bearings. You know, they have an inner race and an outer race, and normally when you use ball bearings to support a shaft, you have one on one end and one on the other. And this motor simply consists of putting current in the outer race of, say, the left-hand ball bearing and taking it out of the outer race of the right-hand ball bearing. Now, the interesting thing about this motor is that it has no starting torque.